All right, student, part two of the manhole. Okay, I think the hardest part is behind, so that's good news for you guys. So, what I'll do next, I think, is the holes. Most of the manholes have, if we look at the references over here, like most of them have like these kinds of whole details like this as well. So I think, I don't know if I'll um, try and just add them like this or sort of integrate it in the design. We'll see. I'll try some things. And from looking at this, I think I like the Hokusai pattern a lot more than the the sleepy whatever theme that we went with the other day. Okay, so let's do. I think I'll go just at the bottom because I don't believe it's going to affect anything else. So again, so fill, I'll call this holes. Okay, just color black mask, add paint. And then I'll just do it manually with the mouse. Um, I think I'll do it just on the, over here. So again, by pressing Control and going left, Control and right click, going left to right increases the size of the brush, going up and down increases the hardness. So I put the hardness to the max, and then I think I'll just sort of visually place these, and I won't care about like the mathematics of it all. I need to create some white because we created a black mask. Let me just add a color for once just to see what it what it looks like at the moment that I paint. Okay, so one here. I think I'll do another here, another here. Yeah, and none on top. There's not enough room for that. So I think that's what I'll do. Okay. Um, if you want, you could still just create, for example, um, either two dots or three dots and then add the mirror filter so that you can have like a perfect symmetry so that this dot is exactly the same place. So if we do mirror, so now it positions these over here, and so let's see. Okay, so this one is not positioned properly, so we can fix this. So I'll erase, oops, I'll go back in the paint. I'll click the eraser brush. I'll remove everything here, and then I'll do a new little to the left. Okay, that looks centered. And then a little bit down. Yeah, so now this is exactly the same height in terms of axes like this, and I know it's a symmetry like this as well. So this is gonna look better in the end. So okay, so now I don't care about the color. I'll remove the color value. I'll then add an anchor point and call this holes. Okay. Let me think. Okay. So, Hokusai pattern, Hokusai height. So, um, I think what I'll do from here is I'll create two anchor points, just for later purposes. Okay, so I'll put it back to visible. So the idea is that I'll probably try and make a line like this one over here that goes outside of this. So for this, I'll do a blur that, and I'm gonna use a levels to have um, a line that goes outwards. And then I'll use this exact shape, this exact anchor point to remove the pink that you see at the moment will be something to remove from the other. So let's do this right away. So holes over here, I'll go into the Hokusai height. I'll do a fill. I'll get the holes, and then this is gonna be in multiply because I want to hide this information. And if we look at the mask, right now everything but the holes is black, so I want to invert. So in my fill from the holes, I can click on levels and then invert over here. And then what it gives me is, so if we remove the pink, so it gives me the position of those holes with them removed. So I can set up already the extrusion of those holes if I want. So this would be holes, oops, holes underscore height. Okay, I'll do a black mask, do a fill over here, grayscale, anchor point. This is holes. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do just the height and we'll go into negative. So now we have the holes. So this is great, but then, yeah, so should I integrate them with the rest or no? I'll just see what I can, what it gives me, and if it's interesting, I'll keep it, and if not, I'll just delete it. So making this visible just for now. So I'll add a blur, going back to my holes. So add filter, blur, and then levels over here. I want to clamp the white. Let's see what it gives us. Not much. So I'll blur a lot more. And the levels I'll push more. What does it say? Okay, so I feel the distance is correct. So I want to have sort of a similar distance to this one over here. So if I look from pushing the white of the levels over here, I think I'll get the, okay, I think I'm satisfied with this. Okay, and then I'll add an additional anchor point, and this will be the holes outlines. So since we're hiding this layer, so we can have those two anchor points and they won't be affecting each other. So if we look at what's the topmost of this layer stack is this part. But then again, I need to remove, so I need the center to be black in order to have just the white extrusion. So I'll do a fill. I'll use this anchor point over here, so the holes, right? And then I'll do multiply over here, and I'll probably have to invert it. Yes. So it's giving me exactly what I want. So now this is what this anchor point looks like, and the previous anchor point is just the inner circles, the black here. So right now we can go back to here in the Okusai height. We can add another fill, add fill, and we can add the new anchor point that we created. So holes outlines. Yeah, this is exactly what we want. And then this will be in lighten mode because if we look at the mask, so no, there's only the white information from this layer because it's a normal. So I want to keep the white. I don't care about the black. So I want the white from beneath to show through. So this is why I choose lighten. So over here, oops, lighten. Perfect. So if we look at the final look of this, okay, we're getting somewhere. I feel these are too close to the edge, so I might just uh, re, uh, lower the blur intensity a bit so that my line is not this thick. Okay, I think this makes sense. Okay, so now I'll be able to use those masks from these holes, the anchor points, in order to texture later on. And now, since I added these, this is the fill of the holes, I'll usually I don't rename the fills, but now I want to make sure that this is something when I go back to it that I understand automatically. So this is holes outline. And this is just the whole subtraction, yeah. Holes sub. Okay. So since, yeah, so what I was saying is that since all the positive are in the same layer, I should actually do that with the Snorlax as well. So instead of having this on its own layer, I think I'll add it to the rest because I don't believe I'll do many colors. I think it will just be a metal color that I'll have everywhere. So what I can do is just right click on this and then do copy, and then into the height here I can do a paste. And then this has to be in lighten because this is white information. So lighten. And then I can delete this guy over here. So now all of my positive um, height is in the same place, right? So everything, so all the anchor points that I use below are called over here in order to create the layer, the depth that I need. Okay, so from this, I think yeah, uh, I don't know if I should create a new anchor point already or if I should do the edge wear before. Um, Let me do it now. Add anchor point, this is the height final, the la última height, let's call it ultimate, because just to make it more, you know, intense. But okay, so height ultimate, perfect. Here now we'll do a slope blur, add filter, blur slope, and then so we'll just make sure that it affects um, the um, the lines that we created. So I tend to go with min in but we'll see. Maybe, yeah, because min keeps it inside of its own path. So you don't want it to go overboard. If we look at the references over here, this one is the best reference, in my opinion, to what the edge wear looks like. So over here, if you look, so it eats in the information of these lines, but it doesn't go outwards, of course, because it's just this ring that's here that's being damaged and eroded over time. So yeah, let's keep that in min. I feel that earphones are gonna die soon. Oh, I forgot to plug them in. So I might have to make an additional video. We'll see. Okay, so I want to blur this to make it not so intense. And I think, what should I do? I'll lower the intensity of this. And I like this, but it's a bit like everywhere. It's a bit too equal as an effect at the moment. So here, let me lower the intensity still. I like this. So, okay, go back here. I'll do a levels to clamp just the values a little bit. Yeah, to remove a bit of the effect. So you see, I'm going for a stylized look, a bit more stylized. I mean, this is very close, but so I mean, this is not stylized; it's real life, but still, it feels kind of the same. So what I'll do is, I think I'll blur a little bit more so that it's less equal. Sorry, my mouse skills are really awful. Okay. So I'm satisfied with this. There's visual interest pretty much everywhere. So now this takes care of the big shapes, but as you can see, it's more chaotic in the way that the outlines are being affected. So what we'll do is I think we'll try to add an additional slow blur. So I'll just duplicate this effect, but have this to be really smaller in terms of tiling so that it affects this outline, but very more like on a really smaller uh, scale. Here. Okay, so like I said in class, so the further you go down, it divides the multiplication by 10. So 1 is the strongest, 10 is the second strongest, and so on and so forth. So if you go to the last, you barely will have any effect. So, but you can play around with the intensity to increase the intensity to see it, if it does anything. But so yeah, so you lose the effect now because the intensity is too low. So not the intensity, but the divider is too low. So I'll add this to a lower value. Okay, I'll increase this more. Okay, I think this is not too bad. I think this is interesting. Yeah, I think it reads well. Okay, so we have it affecting pretty much everywhere, but it doesn't feel like every spot has the same intensity. If we do feel so, we could be able to add some, for example, a clouds or anything such as to and add this as a multiply to to sort of try and get back some information. But I think I'm satisfied with this. Okay. So right now we're working just on the red color selection, which is the center one. In I don't believe I'll do the three rings. What I'll do is I'll do the middle one and I'll let you figure out how to do the other two. It's just the same process, but it's just the selection you'll have to do in other ones. You could, for example, take all of this and group this together and call this like the main part, for example, middle ring and outer ring. So as an example. Okay. And the opacity would stay out because this affects the whole thing. I don't know if it's, oh, because we're in, okay, that's why. So here, F2 to get to the 3D view. So the height is interesting, so I wanted this to be almost at the same level as this one over here in terms of extrusion, so that the other lines are a bit lower. But yeah, so I like what I see so far. Um, okay, so what I'll do next, I think, is I'll start building the material now. So I'll start creating the metal. So let's do, I don't know. I'll do just a fill. I'll create my own from scratch, and then so I'll open the references to the left. Let's take this one. I like the color. So from here I can color pick this, and then I think that's right, but it just looks weird at the moment because there's no rust, there's no anything else. So we'll fix that later. But I think that makes sense for the moment. So here, this would be base color. Again, so this is where we start the design idea. So this was everything that you need to do beforehand, and now we're starting the material. So this is where uh, the main, what you've done for the previous projects come back. Okay, so let me have this still over here so we can see it's so we know it's metal, and we know that because we can see it, and we know that it's glossy as well. So there's a bit of like here there's like a little shape over here, so it's uneven, but it's very subtle. Here there's a little hole, and then there's the fine texture that's on top of everything else. So this will add right after. So right now I'll go, oh, this is great. I like this detail. Okay. Oh, so if you would like to do this, for example, something like that, and then add your name into here. So with the holes, over here, for example, you could be able to add, for example, sorry, I keep saying, for example, so to add paint, and let's say I want here, but the outline is still there. So let me activate the lazy mouse over here. It's not working, it seems. Oh, that's pen pressure, sorry. Is this the one? Lazy mouse. So there's around my mouse, you see there's a gray circle. That means that lazy mouse is activated. So for example, I could do like this and then have my name be written over here inside this portion at the end, just like this here, the DIN 1229, so on and so forth. So I could create my name in Photoshop and then import this and fill this in the same, like the whole everything height. So this needs to be named ultimate height. So I tell you, like the worst is behind. We've done all the material building, so the rest is going to be really straightforward. So here, I'll just delete the paint that I did. Maybe I'll get back to it later to, again, to have my name written somewhere, maybe here, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe, because I could do it over here, but I think it's more interesting if the text is included in the whole design. So I'll define that later. Okay, so what next? So I need to activate the metalness. So get back on top here, metalness. So technically it's supposed to be either 1 or 0, but yeah, because we'll build up the dirt on top of this. I don't know, I'll see. So we'll play it by ear. The roughness seems to be, it seems to be shiny enough. Okay, I feel it's too metallic. Don't tell anyone I did this. Okay. Um, and then let me move the light around. Okay, here. Okay, so I'll duplicate this and I'll do a color variation. This will be just for the color. So this is my fill. So this is why, so this is the foundation of me building the whole layer stack. So, so I need this to have all the channels to be checked. So that way, this is the first step of building everything on top. So color variation, I'll just pick some color that's close to the previous one. There's a color here that's a bit more red. I like that. And then I'll add a black mask. I'll find a grunge. I'll just pick one for the moment and I'll get back to this later to see, what really works with the project. So with grunge, I'll let's pick this one for now. So I'll add a fill. Okay. What's this say? I can barely see it. If I were to remove, okay, let me go here. This is just color. So if I were to remove anything but color, just to see if the metalness induces us in error. So maybe the colors are too close together. Ah, there you go. Okay, I like this. This is subtle enough, but the tiling is too small. I'll just increase the tiling. And so by pressing F1, I get back to side-by-side view. Oops. Okay, and then I'll increase this. And I think I'll blur, or you know what? I'll add fill. I'll add something else on top too. I like this. Okay, just so that we have just a little color variation. Maybe I'll do a blur later. We'll see. By pressing Control and Shift, you can scale with keeping the dimensions proportional. So yeah, I think this is great. Okay, so I'll get back to the other channels. Opacity I don't need because I have this one map over here. Okay, so now let's do the noise, the height. Oh, oops. Here, fill. This is gonna be, so I'm gonna make like small shapes like this that creates a diversity in terms of height. This will be really subtle, but we still have those. So I think I'll go with, okay, so just height, add black mask, and this is just on these lines. I won't be taking care of this for now. So over here, add fill, and this is what, let's do I think I'll go with the clouds, and I'll blur this, and I'll clamp the value with the levels. So here, filter, blur, levels. And this is height, so I need to. Okay, I was increasing the size of this, but there's no fill in there, so I need to get back to my clouds, and my clouds I can scale. I can play around with the values over here if I want, instead of with an additional levels. But then since I blur, there's no other way for me to have control over this but to have the finishing levels. So let me see how this looks. Um, if you look at the reference, so it's just these little parts that are isolated. It's not like a continuous shape. So I think I'll create like big shapes and then I'll mask this with blur. The blur is too strong in my opinion because I increased the size of. Okay, I think I maybe won't need those. So I'll add a fill and I'll use the lines as a mask to remove the effect of the clouds. I don't know if I see it. Okay, is it here? Maybe it's too small. If you press the lock here, you can separate the channels so that they don't keep the size constraints. Oh, it's because the fill is on top with the gray color. That's why I don't see anything. Okay. Okay, let's go back. Anyways, I'll do the operation first, and then afterwards I'll see what it gives me. So this is the height ultimate, and I want to. So if I look at the mask, so I want to inverse this mask so that all the white parts become black, and then I want to clamp this so that this is not. No, sorry, that's the opposite. So I want this, yeah, because I want everything just to be on the lines, right? Not not in the bottom. So I want to increase the white, sorry, so that the lines beneath are included in this selection as well. Okay, now what does it look like? So it's a bit shy. I don't really see it. Ah, this isn't normal. Sorry, my bad. Multiply. Okay, so this I multiply so that underneath won't be affected, but this still has the information from underneath. So if I make the clouds really apparent, so okay, let's just do another texture because we don't see. Oh, finally, sorry, my French was coming out. Bon. Okay, so now we see something and we see that this is happening as well. So here, blur and levels, I think we'll start with this, oops, and then we'll delete the clouds. So I wanted something that really didn't have much, yeah, fine detail. So this is why I avoided the finer ones. So the clouds was in my technical opinion initially the best choice, but then yeah, it didn't really work. This is not the right grunge. Anyways, I'll move forward just so you understand the process already. Let me increase the blur so that it's less of a, it's layers that you add onto layers and then afterwards you get the result that you want. So from here, I'll do another fill, and this time, so this is multiplied, so I need to stay below this one, and this time I'll get the little, you know, smaller details. Should I? I think I'll do this, sorry, in a different layer. So this is height, bumps, so we'll duplicate this, and just to keep the top one. And what we'll do is I'll change the grunge for something that's really small this time. I will go with black and white dots, black and white spots, sorry, and I'll add this here. I'll get it back to its original size, something like this. I'll add a warp because you see it's all like squiggly. So just like it looks exactly like what we had on the hammer handle. So we'll reproduce the same process. So add filter and then warp. Okay. So the black and white spots 3 creates some sort of like rice. It looks like bubbles that are. I don't like this one, so I'll change that. So if you look over here, it creates like these, like I say, bubbles. It's as if it's like I don't know, a chocolate bar or something, like the IO. But then if I add the warp, I feel it creates like a weird distortion over here. So I'll just change the black and white spots to something else. The two, okay, and then this I'll lower. So the tiling of this is too small. Oh, here, we're getting somewhere. So I want this, but I want, so if you look, everything at the top stays at the same level, but it goes inside. So with the levels, so I'll clamp the white value so that we get a surface that's flat. It's not giving me what I was expecting. Maybe if I play with these, it's already better. I feel that the extrusion is now a lot like it goes down, but without being too strong. Okay, let's say like this, and then what we'll do is I'll lower the height intensity of this. I don't like the bumps that I created earlier. I need to play around with the balance so that the bumps are not like everywhere and just in specific places. This is still too small in my opinion. Yeah, we just don't have the right map for that. Oh well, anyways, you